Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Ecom Cooperative Partner Spotlight. I'm Liz Downing, Partnership Director for the Ecom Cooperative, and I've got my co-host and one of the founders of the Ecom Cooperative, Yoni Mazur, CGO of Katita. Yoni, say hello.
Hello.
And Yoni's going to be interviewing our new partner, Vincenzo Toscano, CEO and founder of Ecomcy. I'm going to go off camera and let them talk, but make sure you comment and share this video with your friends.
Very good. Thank you so much, Liz. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting TECO Spotlight, the Ecom Cooperative Spotlight. And today, as Liz mentioned, we're going to be talking to Vincenzo Toscano. He's a good friend in the industry, and he's also the founder and CEO of Ecomcy. So Vincenzo, I'm going to ask you a few questions here. It's going to be pretty casual, but hopefully it will open up to anybody listening or watching, the understanding of what you are or the value that you bring and Ecomcy to the industry, and I guess kind of the magic that you guys bring. So before that, how are you today?
Doing great, man. So thank you so much for the introduction. Same to Liz. It's definitely a pleasure to join the Ecom Cooperative, and I can't wait to share some of my wisdom with you, share a little bit about who I am, and have some fun.
Yeah, it's always about the fun and good spirits. So let's kick it off with the first line here. So really, when you're a kid, right? I'm going to take you back a little bit. I don't know if I'm taking you back to Italy or Venezuela. We're going to know this very soon. Italy? Okay, good. So because I guess you were born in Italy, but I guess you transitioned to Venezuela later. We can touch on that later if needed. But as a kid, right, in Italy, I guess, what do you want to do when you grow up? What was your vision? What was your dreams back then?
So to be honest, I remember when I was a kid, one of the things I love to do is taking things apart. I will do that with everything around the house, with things at home in terms of in the kitchen, with my toys, in the garden. So I started to develop this curiosity about how things work, right? And then over time, that for sure started to develop more into an interest that then became engineering. But I always had that, that kind of curiosity around, okay, how these things manage to have this outcome into a specific thing, right? And yeah, I got very addicted with that. I started to do that with a lot of things, and then I started to grow up. That's what basically made me choose to get my career into an aerospace engineering. Yeah.
But hold on. So as a kid, because you like to play with all these things and dismantle things and put them apart, you already kind of felt or had a vision that you want to do something that it's related to engineering and stuff like that?
Yeah, so some of the things I think that made me go into engineering is that I always like to find answers to things, like how a certain interaction, let's say within a device or it could be in things that happen in life, end up in a certain way. And I remember when I was a kid, some of the things I like to watch a lot in TV is things that have to do with space, because I remember that was one of the things that I couldn't decipher. I couldn't understand how certain things were working in space, or how a rocket could get to the moon, things like that. So I got very intrigued about, okay, I really want to figure out how you get a rocket and put it into the moon, right? And I started digging further and further, and then I started watching a ton of documentaries around the topic. And then my passion for space became a huge thing, because the unknown, the thing that I couldn't decipher, that I could do with my toys, right? And then from there, I started digging further and further, and essentially that's how I eventually end up choosing that career path. Yeah,
it's interesting because when you see an astronaut as a kid, most kids want to be an astronaut. For you, it was like, how the hell did he get there? I want to be able to build the thing that got him there, which maybe connects to where you are today in the industry. People want to be successful with the brand and stuff like that, and they want to be brand owners, and they want to be successful Amazon sellers or Amazon brands, and you're thinking about, yeah, that's cool, but how do I get them there? What's the rocket ship that I could build to get them there? So today that's kind of the formula or the purpose and reason for Ecomcy. So so between that, growing up, how'd you get into e-commerce? Like, what was your aha moment that was that you kind of made you say, this is the industry I want to be part of and a member of?
Yeah, so essentially then to make the story short, I became an aerospace engineer. I specialize in specifically the computer science control systems of that basically career. And I started working for Rolls-Royce. I was working in to their factory in the UK, basically the division that does engines for airplanes. And I was working
By
there.
the way, Rolls-Royce, I just read, I think 2 days ago, they're doing pretty well these days.
Yeah, actually the shares are going up, so.
You have some shares? You still have shares there?
Yeah, I have some. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, so Rolls-Royce guys, I don't know if in the past it used to be the same company, but I mean the aerospace and the car company, but here we're talking about the company for aerospace that really makes the engines. I think they make the engines even for Boeing and other companies.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one actually of the main sources of revenue for them. They have an aerospace division, they have a nuclear division, which is very strong, and they also have a submarine division, which they're one of the best in the world as well.
But the car company or the car brand is owned by BMW.
BMW. So BMW essentially pays a royalty to Rolls-Royce, but they don't manufacture the cars anymore.
So just a branding, a private label thing.
Exactly.
Like,
they did exactly private label.
Yeah, we're gonna use the label. BMW is actually the factory, but the brand owner is Rolls-Royce with the engines. I didn't realize that. That's pretty cool alignment.
Yeah. So essentially, how I got into commerce is I also come from a family that's very business oriented. My grandfather had a shoe factory in Italy after the Second World War. It went under the factory. Basically we lost everything, and then from my other side of the family, my other grandfather, he also had businesses that had to do with trading and things like that in terms of the grocery space and all of that, and eventually things also didn't work out for him. So I come from like two or three generations of people that always did businesses. Then my father as well, my uncles. So I always was around entrepreneurs and people that really wanted to do something on their own. And that's what essentially happened. I started doing my engineering career, but then I started feeling that something was missing. Yes, I love engineering, I love technicality, and that's one of the reasons why I also love e-commerce, because it's challenging and you really need to reverse engineer a lot of things to successfully launch a brand. But at the same time, I realized I was losing a lot of control on things that are important for me. Things such as, okay, how I make my schedule in terms of my time, location, how much money I could make, right? Because I wanted to do certain things for myself and my family that unfortunately an engineering salary was never going to allow me to achieve. And that's where I started basically, looking for things on the side. And that's where e-commerce came into the picture, because it was something that you could do from your home. And then I started doing it, started launching multiple products. Many of them failed. Some of them were very successful. And essentially I was very aggressive because I had my engineering salary. So I say, worst case scenario, I lose all my money. I waste next paycheck and I do it again. Raise and repeat. Until, some of them started to become home runs. And then from that, I started to go very deep into the community, because I started to see, okay, actually there's something beyond being a seller. There's all these events, all these masterminds. Looks very interesting.
So let me get this straight. So when you kind of looking into the industry, you're saying, look, I want to come in as a brand owner, as a seller, right, to create my own revenue and my own future and freedom. And you did that as a seller, just to be like a regular brand. Exactly. But once you notice that there's a community within the industry, that swept you into further dimensions. So take us there. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So I saw, wow, there's something else beyond being a seller. And remember, and we all know this, like being an Amazon seller sometimes can be lonely, right? You are by yourself on a laptop, on your room, that trying to figure out how you're gonna pay your next inventory. PPC is not working. So I started to say, okay, let me try to go to some of these meetups and events, and let's see if I can actually learn something beyond.
And this is just to clarify, this is already you're in England, right? You're living in England.
In England,
London,
in England.
Area.
That's correct. So yeah, for those that don't know, essentially, yes, when I was working for Rolls-Royce, that was in the UK, and my selling journey started in the UK. Yeah, and essentially started to go into some events. I remember some of my first events were, for example, seller sessions, which is well known in the UK. Then I started to get more revenue, started to go to European events, and eventually started to go to US events. And essentially what happens is that because I'm a very social person, I'm I'm sure you have seen that. Like I try to.
The smile,
I'm
the smile
very,
gets the people. Your smile is pretty good. I'll tell you.
Yeah,
If I can borrow it sometime, it would be nice.
So I bond very fast with people, and I love that. I love networking. I love to meet people, their story, their struggles, and see how potentially we can add value to each other. And from there, I was sharing my story, or people were sharing their story and how they were struggling. And I said, okay, actually, I know how to fix that. I know how to help you with that here and there. And I started to realize that I had another passion to some extent, which was actually, sharing my knowledge. And on top of that, I was realizing that I was really enjoying and getting a lot of joy from the success, my advice or the conversation I had with somebody actually could change their business.
So hold on, let me get this straight. So as you are, as a seller, trying to kind of absorb everything that's happening with all these events, you start to kind of hear people's challenges and questions and things, and you see that you have enough wealth of knowledge and experience to kind of share with them what to do, how to do it, and create impact for them.
Exactly.
And would you say this is kind of the seeds in the starting in the beginning to kind of build Ecomcy as we know today?
Yeah, because I saw that so many people were very good with product development and branding, but they were really struggling with the executions of things, the technicalities of things, and that's something that I'm very good at because of my engineering background. So I said, okay, let me help you with the where you actually unfortunately don't have the knowledge, and let's combine forces. And when I saw that what I was doing for them was working, I said, okay, actually there is a need in the market. Like, why don't I create something beyond my selling that and then have an extra business, and then that's how Ecomcy started. And the beginning was only myself. It was more like a consulting service. And then things started to grow. More people came to me, and then I realized, okay, I don't have any more the time to do it on my own. And that's where essentially the agency concept came into the picture, and I started creating my team and everything.
So that's kind of the moment where we realize, okay, this is a business. I have to treat it like a serious business, and build a team and build a structure around it. So when you were doing it, or even today, what are the typical toughest parts of starting a business? Especially on the Ecomcy side.
Yeah, I would say some of the toughest things for me when I started Ecomcy was managing people. Because I came from. The two businesses I had in the past was only myself, and I didn't really had to manage a lot of people. But then when Ecomcy came into the picture, it was, managing team, hiring people, making sure you were bringing the right people within the ecosystem, and make sure the culture was right, creating the systems around those people. So that was a big thing because, almost nobody when you're starting a business really know how to do the hiring and building a team. So I had to figure out, and I did a lot of mistakes, costly mistakes, things that cost me clients as well, because sometimes you do the wrong hires and that can affect things that you do with clients. But at the end of the day, after a few years and me perfecting how to identify the right talent and making sure I have the right training and systems in place, now I can say that we are a very healthy and stable team. We are 40 plus people now. And
is it 40 plus?
40 plus, yeah.
You see, that's an amazing transformation. Once again, you came into this as a lone wolf. You wanted to get a little bit of a freedom. You came from a very, very structured environment. Rolls-Royce, being an engineer, I'm sure that's very, very structured, because that's what you guys do. You create structure to create a product as engineers. And from that, you create, I guess, more freedom from other team members to come to this environment. I'm sure I don't think you guys sitting in a big office building in London all together. I'm sure it's a global team. They can also kind of manage their time, their freedom. So, your journey coming into this, you're kind of joining with you, all these others. I think that's a really cool experience and transformation. But also for you guys right now, or even at the beginning of the way, what was the biggest surprises that you guys faced when helping Amazon brands and sellers scale on Amazon?
Yeah, so I would say the fact that we are a full brand management agency, that means we don't only tap into the big pieces of things, we actually tap into all the areas. We also tap into the branding side of things, the back end of an account, troubleshooting things that happen on Amazon day-to-day basis, international expansion. So there's a lot of moving parts. So one of the most challenging things every single time we bring a brand on board is to make sure that we actually funnel or focus towards the what is going to bring the most incremental growth to the brand in the shortest period of time, right? Because different founders are going to have different essentially milestones when it comes to what they want to achieve in a couple of months, or what for them success looks like. So making sure that all of that is put on paper and is clear for the team from day one is super important. And that usually, I would say, is the biggest challenge, because some clients want to focus on one direction. Let's say one client want to focus more on the PPC, one client want more to go to Europe, one client want me to more focus on the logistics side of things. So I would say that's the biggest challenge for us as a full brand management agency, making sure that we actually are delivering what you as a founder are expecting to receive from a team like us that is basically 5-7 people working on your account. So sometimes it can be overwhelming. So being clear is super important.
Yeah. So it sounds like one of the surprises coming into this is that, you coming into this, you might think, yeah, it's probably going to be the same kind of challenge or problem or thing they're going to have to fix for all the clients. So it's going to be easy. I can scale that up. But all of a sudden you see different clients and brands coming with different types of challenges that they want you to solve for them and construct for them. So you have to kind of figure it out in the whole spectrum of challenges, which is how eventually you build up your specialty and your unique ability to be so versatile. So I think that's very, very valuable. Okay, so
and I think as well, to be honest, that has built myself and my team to really overcome a lot of challenges, because I feel compared to our agencies that have very structured SOPs, copy-paste methodologies, we try to stay a little bit away from that, because yes, you need to have certain standards, of course, but if everything is a cookie cutter, unfortunately in today's age in Amazon, that doesn't work anymore, because the market is so dynamic and it's shifting so fast in terms of competition and how economics affect certain things. If the only thing you do is copy-paste a methodology across multiple brands without actually dissecting what is the actual issue of the brand, that's where a lot of agencies struggle. So in our case, that's what we try to do. We bring all our experts, or PPC expert, or logistics, branding, and everything. We find the pain point and we apply the 80-20 rule. We want to make sure we put our efforts where realistic is going to bring increment, rather than making a lot of noise, as our people might do, and say that we're working across everything, but realistically it's not moving the needle, right?
Yeah, it seems like once an engineer, always an engineer, and the biggest ability is to constantly reconstruct, dismantle, reconstruct, because the environment is constantly changing. There's new tools, new techniques, stuff like that. And if you have a team or environment that doesn't constantly adopt that, or even understand that things are changing, and are able to deconstruct and also reconstruct and apply it to your needs, you're just gonna fail. You're gonna stay behind. This applies to the brands themselves, the sellers, but also obviously the ones helping them, like the agencies. So I think this. I guess if I had to judge, the superpower is for you and the team is together as a culture to constantly reconstruct and adapt and stay dynamic. So you have their standards, but the SOPs are, I guess, temporary until you figure out a better way to iterate and make it better and better. Because I'm sure if I borrow from the world of engines, what the engines today that Rolls-Royce produces not the same ones from 100 years ago, because they constantly improved and figure out the ability to do more. With that, I'm gonna borrow even more. I'm gonna jump a bit more into the world of engines. I didn't realize this, but I learned this recently, that right now the engines are much more fuel efficient for airplanes, right? And they're much quieter, even though they they consume less and they're more powerful. They are more quiet. That's why today they can actually fly, and when they fly from the airport, they can fly right up instead of like taking much longer. So they can because back in the day, if they fly this steep up like that, it'll be a lot. It'll be very, very loud, because the engines were had to get so much power. But today it's like a rocket. They fly right up, and it's pretty quiet around the airports, and then they can go into the skies as soon as possible, and then also save on gas and all that stuff. So in the same vein, same thing applies for every business, but especially in e-commerce, where it's digitally native, it's technologically native. So a few codes of change in lines, everything, it's a whole chain reaction. So it's very powerful to have I guess
and I think to build on that idea, which is great that you bring that to the table, it shows you how is building layer over layer over layer until eventually you get that 100% improvement over a few years, right? And exactly what happened in the aerospace industry. Like, things sometimes take 10, 15 years to get to where we are, like engines are what they are. But these are things that we've been working for so many years, and just now we're seeing the results. And the reason why I bring this analogy is that Amazon sometimes is the same. People think that a business can be fixing in a few weeks or 1 month, that you do a couple of changes and you see the outcome. And unfortunately, that's not the case. I will say the days that only, tapping a few things here and there and see an outcome straight away are becoming less frequent, because the complexity of running a business on Amazon is becoming so much higher compared to the last couple of years, that you need to give time for all these changes to come into play. And eventually, after a few months and making sure all the things are properly integrated, that's where you're gonna have that efficiency that you're looking to achieve.
Got it. Okay. All right. So you're talking about the challenges. We realize the challenges is a constantly changing environment that we kind of covered. But if you could touch, a bit quickly on maybe 1, 2, or maybe 3 main challenges that the retail brands are facing today with the environment, and what can be done to quickly kind of overcome that.
Yeah. So I would say one of the main challenges, when it comes to Amazon, is the way people are tracking success, right? I see people still being super fixated on tracking success on ACOs and TECOs, and I feel unfortunately that's the wrong way of seeing things, because first of all, you're only looking on surface when it comes to the performance of the business, because I can't tell you how many times I have this audit on brands that they say, we need to kill this ASIN because the ACOs or TECOs is very high. But then when I go deeper and actually understand the whole funnel, which is something I'm trying to focus more on my presentations, is that the Amazon seller usually only focus on the bottom of the funnel, which is a conversion. A click, sell, that's it. But they don't actually try to dissect the whole funnel from the awareness side until a conversion happens. And going back to the ACOs and TECOs, sometimes I find brands that, yes, they might have an ASIN that has very high ACOs and TECOs, but if you kill that ASIN, let's say, and remove it from your catalog, then essentially that could be the magnet of awareness that then bring people to buy your other products where you are actually profitable, right? And that's why only focusing your decision on top level KPIs such as ACOs and TECOs is a big thing. And I would say that's the first challenge. You need to stop doing that and actually understand what is the lifetime value of your clients and understand the funnel from top to bottom. The second thing I would say people are struggling nowadays is the way they're trying to differentiate on Amazon, unfortunately, is not being good enough, right? People think that the way they differentiate on Amazon is only like maybe changing a color or adding an extra packaging or an extra insert. And unfortunately, these days, you need to go beyond that, right? Some of the brands I work with that have the biggest success nowadays on Amazon is brands that really develop and invest a lot on unique IP, right? From the perspective of a unique license or a unique trademark or a unique patent. So those are the things I will say people have to start working more and more. And for example, we did even this exercise at $1 Billion Summit. Like, there are so many patents out there, for example, that they are expired, right? Like, this is a quick win for you. You can go out there, find a patent that is expired, re-engineer that patent, and come to the market with something that works on the same issue but goes beyond that, right?
But when you see a patent, you kind of reframe it. Can you also patent that as well? That's the idea, or you don't even patent that?
So yes, if you go to an old idea and then you completely re-engineer to some extent, yes, of course you should patent that.
So you see, patents that are expired, meaning you can already use it because expired. Yeah. But the idea is that even though that's innovative, give another spin so it's even, it stays innovative. So you can patent that. It can be a design or utility. Once you have that, you have protection for at least a few years. So you have differentiation that's protected for a few years, and that's kind of the edge here. So yeah, when we were in Hawaii in the $1 Billion Sales Summit by Kevin King, there was an exercise of trying to find all these expired patents, and from them kind of build a product, and it was a competition. You guys had a really cool one. So yeah, go ahead, keep going. So differentiation within patent, there's just one angle, but keep going.
Yeah, that, and I would say that focus on trying to bring unique IP, because I feel the days of only coming to market with the cheapest price or whatever, you're never gonna win, unfortunately, against the Chinese. I have seen that hundreds of times. And the third thing, to conclude on the last challenge, I see people that they're really struggling to figure out is the sourcing side of things. Unfortunately, things are getting more and more complex, especially with what potentially is going to happen in the US with tariff and everything. So I will say if you are not working on that right now, you're going to have a tough few years ahead, right? I already have clients that they are moving certain manufacturing to Mexico or to Vietnam. And that's something I feel people are not really bringing to the conversation yet, and you should, because at the end of the day, the product is what can make or break your business. And if you don't make sure you have the right manufacturing and the right cost of goods, and on top of that, the right partner to deal with, the shipping and everything, that's where people kills most of the time their profit. Yeah.
Got it. So a quick recap on this. The first, 3 challenges you mentioned. So the first one is the way you look at the business, not just on the advertising side, but the whole holistic view of really understanding what you're doing and where you're trying to go and how to get there, instead of just micro watching just your ad spend, the tacos and ACOS. And the second thing was differentiation. We talked about that, how to really create, something different, unique that can be protected. So you have an advantage. And the third is, global sourcing. There's a lot of dynamics changing in the global sourcing. So you have good, steady, sourcing abilities. So you don't get interruptions and losing, momentum and rank. All right. So thank you for that. That was really good. Okay. So touching into that, and from sourcing, I want to kind of quickly touch, if you have a quick tip on, kind of the one thing you can tell someone with the next big product idea on how to get started selling online. So what would it be? In other words, if somebody's watching it, they're kind of the beginning of the way, or they're about to launch another product, give them a quick tip on, what can be done.
Yeah, so I would say one of the biggest tips I'm giving to brands where they're getting started right now is try to come up, and this should ideally be part of your product research phase, right? Try to come up with ideas where you can actually build a community behind this product, right? Because we see how social commerce is becoming bigger and bigger. That's why TikTok is becoming so big, because people are shifting the way they shop to actually social media more than ever. And you need to make sure your product is shoppable on this platform, right? And what I'm trying to say is, like, if you want to have the highest chance of success, try to work with products that are fun to see in social, in terms of video. Make it very easy to make fun videos around, or make some kind of interactive activities with your audience. Because if you come with a boring product, and don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people will have brands that do a lot of money with boring products, but if you don't have the funding to sustain the burn of doing boring products, try to work with products that actually are very friendly with social media. And that's, I would say, one of the things I see as a factor when I audit brands that are getting started that makes their success on Amazon more guaranteed, because now they have this product that's very easy to create this hype outside of Amazon. And if you're very strategic with that, it's going to make your journey and have that Y factor on Amazon much higher, and therefore convert higher, make more sales, get the momentum going, and positioning and so on.
Tell me, were you in the patent contest of creating a product? Was your product the lamp, the lava lamp?
Yeah.
So we could take that example. So the idea was to take, an expired lava lamp, kind of a patent. Lava lamp does really cool colors and variations at night, but I think you guys souped it up, meaning you created, it's also a speaker.
Yes.
Right. So if it's also a speaker, you can connect to Bluetooth. You can create an application to to log into that product. And if you have an application, that means you have connection with the consumer and you have data, right?
Exactly.
What are they listening to? How they're listening? So from that application, you can create an environment, a community of following. Say, hey, for all the ones using these lava lamps, these are the top favorite songs, the top 10, or in Europe, and it could be your town, your city. So all of a sudden, there's an environment. They bought a lava lamp, but all of a sudden, they realize that they're in a new dimension, a new community. So your product and environment becomes a brand, something to follow, something to be a part of. That's differentiation, that's sophistication. So that's a small, narrow example. So think creatively how you can create around your product or brand an environment of sorts, and social commerce, and have affiliates or promoters or influencers raving about it because it's so cool.
Yeah, that's the perfect example. And that idea, actually, when I was developing the product, came from a product that bought, which is this brand that they do lighting called Gove, right? They do all this lighting for home and everything. And one of the main things that people love about this lighting product is that you have an app, and within this app, everybody is able to upload their template of different lighting effects. You can do lighting effects and share it. Like it's like everybody has like their playlist to some extent, and you can interchange that with the community and everything. And that's one of the reasons that made the process successful. So the same thing, try to create dynamics where your audience can interact with you beyond only buying the product. And those are usually the brands I see having the easiest journey on Amazon.
Yeah, so think about what they're doing. They're giving the recipes of how they create the sequences of their lighting in their house, and people are like, oh, let me try this recipe. So same thing like food. People love to share recipes and try new things. You take lighting, right? Lighting and all these colors and all the variation, boom, and you create an environment. That's brilliant. That's thinking edgy, right? Okay, so I want to kind of shift gears towards kind of wrapping up this episode. So I guess kind of 3 points. First is what's going to be kind of next for Ecomcy. Give us a little bit of vision into the future. And second will be, what are your favorite things about the e-commerce industry? You know, you can say it in a few words. And I'll save the last question for last, also make it quick. But what's next? Give us a vision for Ecomcy. And what are your favorite things in the industry as it stands today?
Yeah, so essentially what I'm creating with Ecomcy is I want to create a singularity point for Amazon sellers to where they can basically plug their brand, and we can have them not only optimize their operations on Amazon, but allow them to first of all grow internationally to other markets, which I'm a huge believer of that, and make sure that we also implement a holistic approach beyond Amazon. That's why I've been investing so much on having my team on the Walmart side of things. We also do TikTok shop. We also official partners as well with Alibaba in the US for B2B side of things, because I feel what I'm trying to create in terms of internally is a machine that's going to allow sellers where they're struggling, because they are right now, that they realize Amazon is not anymore a business that you can only rely on Amazon, and they need to open the doors to other frontiers. And I want to make sure I'm that platform for them, right? And that's one of the things. And the second thing, I'm being super heavy investor is in things that are able to also add value to enterprise companies, which is why I'm also been doing a lot of investment on DSP MC, because I feel, going back to the challenge I just gave you, people focus too much on the bottom of the funnel. And I see, unfortunately, that's why brands are struggling. And with technology such as MC, now you're able to understand from top to bottom where the consumer actually see the product for the first time, and what is the right path for them to interact with ads and organic exposure to actually convey them and make them loyal fans to your brand. So these are some of the exciting things we are doing inside Ecomcy. And yes, I think we're just getting started for sure.
Nice. And what's your kind of most favorite thing in the industry, the e-commerce industry?
To be honest, something I love about the e-commerce industry is about how open people are to support each other, and also how strong we are in terms of as a community as a whole. So going back to events, right? I think I'm jumping around to different industries because I do other things beyond e-commerce, and I think this is the only really business area I have found so far that community is so friendly and so on. They have fun together, and we do these events and we do these gatherings and everything. So I think it's the healthy side that we go beyond business and we actually connect more at the human level, which unfortunately I cannot say that's the case in our industries. So that's something that actually really connects with me, because as I told you, I'm a very social person, and the fact that people in this industry is as well is definitely a big plus for me.
Yeah, so you're saying, it's a very technical industry. It's all data, it's all, information, putting all this thing together. So it could be pretty technical, but the beauty of it, around it, there's a human connection to people. The entrepreneurs, they're pretty open about it, they're pretty dynamic, and there's an environment where you can go meet and succeed. So that's a really cool thing that you like. All right, so kind of last question, you've been an engineer, now you're with e-commerce. If you were not in engineering anymore or e-commerce, what do you think you'll be doing?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So I would say something that I have a big passion for as well is music. I'm actually also have a degree in piano, so I also did a piano.
Wow, if you come to New Jersey, let me know. I have a piano at the house. I'm also a pianist. Happy to jam. It will be nice.
Yeah, so I would say that's something maybe I would like to go deeper for sure if I wasn't an engineer or doing business in e-commerce, like go deeper into the music world, because I think it's very nice. Unfortunately, there is not a lot of business opportunity in that realm right now, but yeah, that's something for sure I have a passion for as well. Yeah.
Music, performance, and piano. Nice. That's pretty cool. Okay, so yeah, so thank you so much. You know, Vincenzo, was really great to kind of touch base, you know, getting all your insights and knowledge. We really appreciate that. You know, with Ecomcy, if I had to kind of rephrase it, it's kind of the Rolls Royce of you know, the Amazon agencies that really are able to deconstruct and construct something that is constantly better and better and better, and hopefully will create longevity. So one thing about Rolls Royce you can say is, you know, they're there for a while. They got longevity, they got tradition, they got, you know, high-end quality that is sustainable. So hopefully that's the way most brands and all brands should aspire to be. And with you guys, hopefully they'll be able to achieve it. All right, so thank you so much. I hope everybody enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now.
Yeah, thank you, Jenny. Bye-bye.